Hey guys, Nicholai here back at you with another response video. This time we're going to be listening to a quick little 1 minute video from OrthoChat where he is, or somebody from OrthoChat, it might be from a completely different person, but an interview of an Orthodox priest talking about salvation. Are you saved? And Protestia responds, yeah, this is not the gospel, this is heresy. Now, we're going to go into that in a second, but first I want to point out how benign and uncontroversial these statements are. Even if he's kind of just bumbling through it a bit, in my opinion, he doesn't really answer it as thoroughly, but you can tell that English is his second language, so he's probably not being as robust as one normally would be. So,
Orthodox Christians explain when a Protestant asks the question, "Are you saved?"
Let's put it this way, I am preconditioned to be saved. I have all opportunities to be saved.
yes, God gives his grace to us all. Our grace is equally given to all humans and all mankind. We all equally have the chance and opportunity to be saved.
It's like saying to somebody, can you swim? Can you swim? Today I can't. I don't know. I don't know how to swim. But I can learn. I can learn. So, but fact that I am baptized in the Christ and I put on the Christ and I have Christ in me, and if I commune of his holy body and blood, and I work on myself, I have a potential to be saved. If I do everything with faith and I believe in God, and I have opportunity to be saved. But I also can fail majorly.
Correct. This is clearly explicated in the scriptures. We have all the opportunities to be saved, but the apostles throughout the New Testament make it very clear that you have to keep on running the good race, fighting the good fight. That you have to be consistent in these things. You can't fall away. That people will fall away and stumble away. They'll spring up into new life and then wither. Um, Christ himself talks about this. So what is spring up into new life? You're newly alive. It doesn't say, oh, it was a fake life. It wasn't real. No, it was new life and then it withers. These are all the types of things that are clearly explicated in the scriptures. So how this is heresy is another question, but we'll get into that in a second.
Because God can give me all of his gifts, but I'll just neglect them.
Yeah, so and I think this is a very important point that he makes, and he doesn't really go on to say anything further that would change my commentary here. So what I'll say is, it's very clear that God desireth the salvation of all. He gives those gifts freely to all of mankind, to all people, and it is our choice whether or not we receive those gifts and do with them as we should, or refuse them and don't properly manage them and take them for granted and all these other things. So that's very clear. Now, let's talk about this is heresy. From the Protestant paradigm, how can they declare anything to be heresy when they have no ability to bind us to any interpretation? This is an interpretation issue. We're clearly appealing to certain scriptures, right, to back our interpretation of these things and our theology, and they probably would as well. But the question is how do you bind us to your interpretation? Of course, they don't have any. Now, energetic procession, I answered down below, but he brings up a great point. Which heresy do you think he's expressing? That's a really very consistent. If you know the heresies well enough, which everybody should, you should study the church fathers' responses to heresy. Don't necessarily read the heretics themselves. It's not very useful, actually. Read the responses to the heretics. The only unless you're guided very very carefully through them by a spiritual father, because you can't be led astray. That being said, which heresy do you think he's expressing? There was only one person that even bothered to respond, and Jezreel and Evangelism says, work righteousness. If I work on myself, I have potential to be saved. False works-based gospel is not gospel at all. Paul says that them be accursed if they preach another gospel. Okay. Perhaps you missed the scriptures, 2 Corinthians 6:1, and working together with him, we also urge you not to receive the grace of God in vain. Don't receive it in vain. So that means that you can receive it, but it's in vain, right? So there's clearly a choice in the matter. 1 Corinthians 9:24. Do you know that those who run in a race will run, but only one receives the prize? Run in such a way that you may win. That you may win, not that God wins for you. 2 Peter 1:10. Therefore, brethren, be even more diligent to make your call and election sure. Make sure that you're diligent so that these things are ensured. For if you do these things, you will never stumble. And what is the consequence of stumbling? Falling away from the path, potentially damnation if you stumble away, right? Now, they could maybe interpret that to mean, oh, you'll stumble while you're on the path, but that doesn't mean you're ever off the path. And you want to keep on running the path as far as you can because sanctification. But that's just an arbitrary delineation. 1 Corinthians 9, and every man that striveth for the mastery is temperate in all things. Now they do it to obtain a corruptible crown. But we do an incorruptible. Therefore, so run, not as uncertainly, so fight I, not as one that beateth the air, but keep under my body and bring it into subjugation, lest that by any means, when I have preached to others, I myself should be a castaway. I don't know how much more clear this can be. Now notice, he doesn't respond to any of this. What is the gospel? 1 Corinthians 15, 1 through 5 is the gospel. He answers, what is justification before God? Great. Justification from your framework is event. You arbitrarily divide it from salvation as a whole and make it into some robotic system. And that is absolutely what they are doing. Consistently, this is the kind of pattern we see. Now, a lot of Orthodox people commented on this, and Economic Eth, who has commented in my videos down below, great person, great guy, follow him. I don't know why mine wasn't following him initially either. It's weird, but anyways, Twitter does that kind of stuff sometimes. It says here, I was saved, Romans 8:24. For this hope we are saved. I am being saved, 1 Corinthians 1:18. But it is us who are being saved. I hope to be saved, Romans 5:9. Much more shall we be saved. There's clearly a past, present, and future tense in the salvific work of mankind. Now, this is funny. It doesn't say being saved in 1 Corinthians in the KJV. I think you're using the corrupt version. And the Romans 9 means that we are saved from coming tribulation, day of wrath, because we will be raptured before the event. Oh, so we got a rapture person. But all he had to do was post the original Greek being saved. There's no being saved in Greek. Notice he uses Google Translate. You don't use Google Translate for ancient Greek, my friend. So that is very clear. I am ex-Orthodox. Orthodoxy is a farce, especially in the US. Total LARP fest, a joke. Anybody who has been meaningfully Orthodox would never talk about their previous community in such a way unless they were spurned or they never were Orthodox meaningfully, meaning they didn't attend the divine services, they didn't go to the liturgy, they didn't engage in the community at all. There's a lot of those types of people, but something tells me that's not the case. So a lot of Orthodox responded here, basically flooded out any dissent. But 90% of these things are arguments from incredulity on this. And Protestia will never respond. Ever, ever, ever. Used to engage in the comments below, but they don't really ever engage. Which is sad because, frankly, they mislead a lot of people about the Orthodox faith. So, I hope you guys have a great day. Like, share, and subscribe. Let me know what you think down below.